So we have with us one of the stars from Dreamster, Yohanna Idha, and she's joining us from Sweden, so far away from North America. And let's have a conversation with Yohanna Idha. Greetings, Yohanna. How are you?
Hi, so nice to join you. I'm fine, thanks.
That's fantastic. We are huge fans of films that come from all over the world and these amazing sci-fi treats. And this was a gem that was sent to us some years back, and we've always wanted to have this conversation with you. So we're so delighted that you're joining us today.
It's amazing to be with you. I just left the festival and I'm so honored to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. We'd like to show a little tiny clip,
Yeah,
like a tiny clip of the film. Is that okay?
yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Share. Hold on a second.
If it works.
Yeah, if it works, right? If it works. I think it won't work. Hold on. That's one thing we forgot to get going here. Share screen. Here we go. Hold on. Tell us what's happening here. Oh,
And this is very fun. This was actually very traumatizing to film because she's going through this phase where she doesn't want to live anymore due to what she's been subjected to. And basically, Sarah Jaden is very similar to most actresses that when you have achieved a level of fame and then you lose it, it just becomes something so prestigious for you as an individual. And when she gets a new opportunity to be in this TV series, she thinks it's something very, cool and exciting, but it turns out to be very revealing of who she is as an individual, and it's not good.
it's not
And
good. It doesn't go the right way.
no, it
Wow.
doesn't. And
Wow.
I think most of us don't want to reveal too much about our personal life because it can become very too personal, and this is what she gets to do.
Yes. So what did she do? Dreamster. The photograph that we have for Dreamster is the hold on a second. Just going a little slow here. Apologize. This photo here.
Yeah.
This is the poster, and in the
Hmm.
poster you see these things that are connected to her head, these electrodes and sensors and things that are monitoring her brain waves. So what we're knowing is that it's capturing her dreams. So what did they do that really made you lose your mind and smash your head against the window,
Well,
the
basically,
glass?
the story is like way more intricate than what we find out in the film. But basically, she's reviving memories from her past that are revealing a person, which is a powerful individual, but they don't want her to trash him, basically. And so when she dreams her dreams, it's a very traumatic real life experience that she
Yeah.
has. And this is like not making people happy in the right places. And so they make her seem insane, and they say that it's her fault that people commit suicide due to her dreams, and they're very disturbing. So when she wakes up, she not only believes that it's her fault that they've committed suicide, she also thinks that she knows that powerful people are now they're after her, and it becomes a very life-threatening situation. And when she realizes just how much they've placed upon her, it's like this. I will tell you more later, but what Britney Spears went through, just like
Hmm.
being
Hmm.
in a situation where you're so scrutinized that you realize I'm not going to be able to defend myself, and so she
Wow.
wants to commit suicide because she doesn't want to go through it again. And it's
Wow.
that's very that moment for me as an actor to just to go through when she decides for herself that this is not worth it. I'm gonna end it. It was very it was intense moment in
Yeah,
filming
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it sounds like would have been definitely a challenge producing this. Um,
Yeah,
so
and
how did you go ahead?
no, I just love when people give that opportunity to you as an actor. I mean, that's a rare opportunity, which is just what we dream of as actors, I think.
Yeah. How did you get cast in the film? What was that process like?
Well,
How many
basically,
people
it's
were
very
there?
fun because this was the project was ongoing for a couple of years. So he, Ludwig Gür, the director, contacted me and he was like, "You're perfect for this." And he was working with Levan Akin, whom we know now from Vampire's Diary in the US. It's streaming right now. He is an award-winning director, and I worked with him on his debut film, which is now 10 years ago.
Mm.
And that part catapulted my career so much. Like I got so much attention. I won like best actor award. I was like nominated for a Swedish Academy Award. It was
Yes.
really like this huge deal. And then life as it goes with actors and careers, it just went more quiet. And so I think that he thought that I could identify with what she's going through, just this like moment of dreams, like hoping that this will be my comeback, like my big thing. And so he asked me if I was willing to do it, and I was just like jumped on the idea because I loved it, because I myself could identify, but also because I think it's such a universal, for so many people it's that recognition that will lead to real work and being seen for what you really love doing.
Yeah. So you were very much prepared for this role.
I was, yeah.
So there were specific experiences, or you had to research, what really happens to people, and when they go through
Yeah, I
this.
looked a lot at because he was talking about, like Sarah Michelle Gellar and things like that, but I didn't really feel like she's supposed to have been like a major star, like on like very, very like she is if you think like a rom-com or something where you're this like superstar for a couple of years. And then that she's breaking up with a boyfriend, and then afterwards her career goes to scandals, and it's just and I immediately thought of Britney Spears because I just saw that moment in time for her when she and Justin Timberlake broke up, and then how she was going through this time when everybody said she was crazy. And it was just, to me, it really, so I started researching her and what she must have
Yeah.
gone through. And
Yeah.
that it is such an unreal moment when you get that recognition and you get that so much, everybody's eyes are on you. I don't think
Hmm.
many people are prepared to deal with that. And
Hmm.
I, for myself, when that happened to me for just a couple of, brief moment, I was like, I don't know that's what I want, that I really want that for myself. I want it for my career, but not specifically for me as a person. And I think that dealing with that is very hard for anyone. And so I think you can become a little bit like you become distanced from yourself
Yeah.
in a way.
Wow. That's interesting. So then, the viewer sees how you, being the actor, the lead, that this happens to, as well as others that you know that it happened to as well. But the audience is going to say, man, there's something interesting between this technology and what it has done, and how the technology is being used. So we have this great technology. Once again, folks, science fiction. We've got this great technology, and we're applying it in ways that might seem immoral.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think
that's
it's very interesting because I think that's what the director, what I heard him say that he wanted was to explore the way that we use technology today and how do you say the our our need as a species to be like watching other people's lives and to scrutinize everything and sit back and in many cases just watch television and be like a part of almost like a like a virus or something on other
right,
people's lives instead of living
right,
our own life. And I think
right.
dreams are so personal. And it's
Yes,
really, I mean, everybody has been through that situation where somebody's like, oh, I had this dream, but we never really understand what's going on. So it's such a interesting idea that we would
yeah,
be able to experience
yeah,
somebody else's dream. And I
yeah.
think that it's very interesting that right after he made this film, that very summer, the technology came out where you would be able to read people's dreams. And so it's life is like reality.
Yeah, that is how some of the science sci-fi works.
Yeah,
You see the movie, you read the story, and next thing you know, wait a second,
I know.
Scientific American has an article about, oh, they've made it, they did it. It's not
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, for
listening to an
sure.
ape. So yeah, that's pretty heavy duty. Could be scary.
Hmm.
But we're gonna jump a little bit around in our Q&A here, but
Yeah.
I want to stay on the film topic. How was the film received in other festivals? Can
It
you
was
name some of
received
them?
very well. Yeah, it was actually not like I have been in a few films that have been like international over the past years, and I think that Dreamster had a little bit of an issue like finding the right festivals, just because it's like genre, it's not specific horror or thriller. It's uh, so, but where it went, like Screamfest, and it was uh, people really liked it, um, and I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have been at more festivals to see how
Mm,
it was
mm.
received because the producer was there. So I wasn't.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that was Ralph, right?
yeah. Ralph
Ralph
D'Amato.
D'Amato.
Yeah,
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 yeah, very nice guy. We had some conversation back and forth, and he was very excited with the film when we made the announcement. Um, very very pleasing.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really fun, and I think Screamfest was fun as well because Ludwig he won with his last film at that
Hmm.
award.
Hmm.
So it was really fun for him to go back and to have a film again. And I think they were really like inviting and welcoming. So I think the film has received very like nice reviews from people overall, which is, I mean, it's always such an honor when people understand what you're trying to do.
And
And I think it's so
yeah,
important because in film we can explore different angles and we can
right.
understand what a technique actually will do to us, and if it's something we want to pursue or that we actually don't want to pursue. And I think it's very fascinating to just explore how much science actually can affect us.
That's right. What was your favorite part in shooting in the film? What was your favorite part?
Oh, well, the whole experience was so amazing, and I don't know if you know, but it was actually like a pilot to begin with, so it
That's
was
right.
59 minutes long, so it's just so much more than what we get to see in the final
Oh,
product.
come on now. He's gonna have to share that.
I know it's
He's
so
gonna
it's
have to
like
share
for
that. I'm
me
gonna make a
it's
note.
I know it's so much that and I think just having so much happening to her in a over and showing, I think the technique is so interesting for me because at first she's very hesitant towards it, But then she
Hmm.
realizes, oh, there's such a huge interest that spiked within people in this group. And she gets to her ex-fiance,
Hmm.
whom she broke up with, what is
Oh, he
also,
was he was the fiance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That
they've had this
explains
like
it.
really, it's so, and I mean, this, their relationship is so traumatic and so like
Yep,
not
yep,
good.
yep,
And
yep.
so when you realize that he's on the show and he's like affecting her to do the show, and then it's just, it's so, it's such a human, you know,
Oh,
that aspect of just like re, you know, like a hope to meet him again, and it just becomes something so much
he, you know,
larger.
he kind of, between the groups, he was like winning the best villain of the year award.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my
he
God.
Eric actually received the award best supporting actor for that film.
And he
Uh,
is, I mean, he's
Eric
so
Eric
fun to
Krog,
work with.
Krog, right? Krog.
Yeah,
Eric
exactly.
Krog.
Yeah. And
He
he's,
was
I
he
mean,
was
he's
he's great.
so, he's a very interesting guy to work with because when we did that scene where he's punching me,
Yep.
it was very, I mean, we had to like both in the bed and on the floor. It
Yeah.
was, I mean, for me as an actor, it becomes so emotional because it's just, it is. And afterwards, he was like, "Oh, that went really well." We had a stunt coordinator and everything, and he was like, "You're still crying," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am because it's emotional." And he was
Oh.
just like, "But it's just acting." So he's very, I mean, he does it to a degree. He's such a nice guy in reality. He's like so
Yeah.
warm, so nice. So you can't even imagine that he can step over that limit and be completely cold in his eyes. He's just, he does it so well. He's really amazing.
Oh
So I
man.
just thought, but I think that moment with, I think that that day was the most intense and most rewarding as an actor
Hmm.
when you
Hmm.
both get
Hmm.
to work with a stunt coordinator and you get
Hmm.
to work with emotionally like strong, really like, and it's only in your eyes when you have that
Yeah.
medium of the camera really closing in on you and you get that moment, and then you have
Yes.
to, do
Yes.
it technically perfect. I think that is
Yes.
the challenge that I really like.
Well, it was very emotional. Your scenes, your look, it was very emotional because you could see how drawn out you were, to this really bad experience experiences that you've had. So that
Mm,
really comes to the surface, and it had some violent moments that made, I can tell you, being in the theater when it was playing, people were like, oh,
yeah.
what, were yelling out at some of the stuff that was happening. you know Tell me one other thing though. The film was shot in Los Angeles, or was it shot in
No, it was shot
Sweden?
in Stockholm. Yeah,
It was
it was
shot in
shot.
Stockholm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was shot in a studio, and so most of it was built up, which is,
Mhm.
but it was supposed to look like LA, of course.
Yeah,
So
no, no, good job, good job,
yeah,
good job. Yeah.
they were amazing. I mean, the prop designers, I was like, I love this set. Everything is so cool. It was, and it was like being in a sci-fi film as well because
Mhm.
we shot it during the pandemic, so everybody was like, in masks,
Really?
so you couldn't, yeah, so you
You
couldn't see
guys?
anyone. So I was like, we walked in and everyone was in like this like protective clothes and masks, and you were like, oh, hello, who are you?
You,
So it
you
was,
guys did you all did a really good job at that because um you you can kind of tell when a film is really short on crew,
yeah.
short on staff when it's produced. But you can't tell that with your film at all.
No, and
It
I
was that.
really wish
Yeah.
more film would come to Sweden to shoot. I know that it's a
Uh-oh.
tax issue and things because
Mhm.
well, we're not going to go into it, but like the government doesn't understand how crucial it is to make film in Sweden. But I really think Swedes are so both technically and in our artistic
Mhm.
ability,
Mhm.
we're
Mhm.
like at such a high level that you can bring down production costs so much in Sweden and still get like really good results, which I feel I really wish that more films would come and shoot because we have studios and we have the people here and the know-how, and it's really when you compare it to different other things, it's like it's such a high level of production
Can
value.
you elaborate a little bit on some examples and where those studios are?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we have a couple of really good studios that are green screen studios that where you can drive in the car that looks just like Los Angeles, where it's super expensive to shoot. And in
Hmm.
Sweden, it's you rent it for like $1,000 a day. It's just ridiculous, and so you can basically make whichever sci-fi, which is perfect for sci-fi. So you can basically make whatever you want, and
Hmm.
we have three in Stockholm and one in Trollhättan, which I think Lars von Trier did, like
Right.
shot a whole film there. But we also have like like in smaller Norrköping is getting like growing a lot because they are making films that make it really big
Hmm.
on the festival scene, and people are like, oh my god, what was your budget? And when they compare it to something that's made in the US, they're like, what? Your budget was like 1 million Swedish crowns, and they're like, how? And
What's the exchange rate?
so we're now at like 12 crowns per dollar.
Oh my
So
goodness. So that's really inexpensive.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And so you said you kind of touched on something about what are the tax arrangements there, or can you talk about the tax arrangements
yeah.
there?
I
Why does
think
it make
it's
it
very
challenging?
interesting because Norway has very good tax solutions, where Sweden is not. We will. I don't think we will get paid the production costs almost at all, um, but I think it makes up for the light that we have here and the people on location,
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
feel like in Norway it's super expensive to live, and they don't have the same arrangements that we have in Sweden. I mean, it's very easy with logistics and very easy to have a lot of people come here as well. But
Hmm.
then, so I think still the Swedish government should really look into the tax. I think in the Netherlands
Hmm.
um, and in Ireland, I think it's like a return policy of like 80% or something, whereas in
What does
Sweden
that
we.
mean?
So if you like you get that back from the government if you shoot in and on that
Oh,
location, which is a
oh.
great. I mean, a lot of films are shot just mainly based on that. But I do think that people are missing out on Sweden because I mean we shot now. I want you to look at the Huntress, which is a film that I shot here in Sweden, and it's the film looks like it's such a good production value, and I think we had um, 550,000 Swedish crowns, so you can understand that's like $40,000.
Hmm.
That's nothing to make a feature film, and it looks really good. So,
This was in 2019.
yeah,
The Huntress, Rune of the Dead.
yeah. So it's fascinating. I think a Swedish film. Um,
And you were Magnahild.
yes, it's
Wow.
this really cool Viking, and it's a beautiful film, which I really. It's like a folklore, and I mean we have the wonderful opportunity of knowing this like Viking expert, and he's making like all the weapons and all the clothing, like all the costume design, all the like we built the houses for the production, and it was built in like 2 months. We built like
Yeah,
in their long houses and everything. It's really cool. So it's
that's
fascinating.
impressive. That's impressive.
Independent market here in Sweden is really it has a very high value.
That's impressive. I'm curious where a lot of these themes are shot. I guess they're not shot in Sweden. They're shot in other parts of
Yeah,
the northern hemisphere.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Norway has a lot, but then it's a lot shot in like Bulgaria and Hungary,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it's the same kind of landscape, but and it's less expensive and has better tax policy. So,
Oh, okay. So
mhm.
you're saying that if Sweden changes their tax policy for film production, it would probably make it much more adaptable for
Yeah,
filmmakers.
for sure, for sure. But I also think that that would be. I mean, when we talked to, I was co-producing a film, and we tried to make it be shot in Sweden, and then
Hmm.
it didn't work out,
Hmm.
just because of that. And but I was trying to
Wow.
argue that if you come here, the cost of the actual production will be lower or the same. So I don't see why that is an issue. So it's it's always trying to argue different sides of the story.
Yeah, yeah. So are you saying that even though that it was shared with the film production, that it would balance out
Yeah.
when you take into consideration the whole equation, they still didn't want to do it.
No, I don't think they understand. I think people are really bad at marketing themselves in Sweden. I
Mm,
don't
mm,
think, and I don't think the understanding. I mean, if you bring everybody from the US, let's say, to shoot in Hungary, and
mhm.
you have that cost of logistics and everything, that having to bring everybody there, it's just so much money to do that.
Right.
uh, and but you have to understand that you can trust a film team in Sweden to do the same thing, to understand the job, and to be able to do it. And so what I would argue is that in Sweden, I think we have such a high work ethic, and
Mhm.
people deliver on um, such a high scale in comparison to, I don't want to compare it to like another country, but it's just like we have the technology, we have the IT, we have the know-how, and
Mhm.
so it's just a very competitive, like people don't say that. Swedes don't go and say, oh, but this is what I can bring to the table. So I think it would be really interesting to see more collaborations, actually.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, because we're
Oh,
not
very
like
interesting.
visionaries. I mean, I think a lot of stories come from Sweden that are good, but not enough. I think that there are so much more like visionaries, like script writers, like people that are used to making films at a fast pace, um, abroad, especially in the US, of course, um, which is like that we don't have that in Sweden. But we have the people, we have like the production of, when a film comes in and we make a film, it's very efficient. So it's like, if that collaboration would happen, I would love to see that over the coming
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting. Something to look into.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the audience here will appreciate this because a lot of the filmmakers, they're always looking for cast people. They're always looking for production crews. They're always looking for locations. And perhaps it would work better for the independent production crews
Yeah.
than larger budget crews. Um, so that's very interesting. Something to look forward to. Something to continue to
Yeah.
discuss.
Off topic, but anyways.
No, no, it's not. It's not off topic. I think it's all within the same in the same scope. But reflecting on your career, what has been your most challenging role to date, and how has it contributed to your role as an actress?
I'm gonna scroll down because I think I prepared like a.
Uh oh. Uh
Oh
oh.
yeah. uh so let's see where that was. um just because I might not remember as it. Because I want to, like, your when you think what's most challenging, I always think it's fascinating that actors don't mention this,
Hmm.
because I don't think that, I would like to turn the question around a little bit, because I feel like for actors, we're so used to creating characters, and we love when we get a character that has a big character development and gets to show, growth and everything. So if we're skilled and if we're educated, that's not a challenge really. The challenge is to understand, to understand the industry,
Hmm.
to really
Hmm.
understand, like, how can I adjust my talent without compromising my personal integrity as an actress? How can
Mm.
I be cinematic, uh, but still mold a character truthfully? And how can I stand up for myself without becoming too demanding? How do I, as an actress, how do I present myself to everyone so that they want to know something about who I am as a person? They want to work with me, but I don't share too much that's too private. Like that, that if you understand, like, I really believe as an actor, you have to learn to become personal without taking it personally. You have to
Yeah.
really sit there and be like, of course, that ability comes with experience. It comes with age.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I think that the industry would benefit a lot from teaching this to younger talents earlier on, because I see how so many of the best actors that I know, that are my friends and the people that I work with, they don't understand, like, they don't understand the nature of the beast that they're trying
Hmm.
to ride, and so
Hmm.
they crumble under something instead of understanding how to be in this industry. They just start taking it personally. They do the wrong thing, or they try to adjust too much, and they just, in the end, they crumble under that pressure. And many
Yeah.
times I see that people that are very good at understanding the media, who are very cinematic and who are understand the industry and networking, they can make it. But then we have a rather, like, narcissistic community, which I think that's the opposite. Like, a really, like, the most wonderful actors that I know are very empathic, very truthful, very amazing people to be around. But up until that point where you've made it, where you have that recognition, I find there is a lot of, ego and the wrong parts of acting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really feel that has been the most challenging for me to, like, continue pursuing my dream and to portray myself in that truthful way, um, without losing myself.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's no, I think that's very positive. One of the parts of BCFE, we have a screenplay competition. It's one of the oldest parts of the festival, other than the films itself. So we take local actors in the community, and in the screenplay competition, the finalist, um, we would take a page or two from their script, and the actors, go on stage and play out the scene,
Oh,
with
wow.
costumes and thematic music and things like that. Oh yeah, we're probably the only festival that does this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but our actors are a broad range, so we have some people who are highly experienced, and we have some people who are relatively new
Yeah.
in the scene. So there's sort of like, what you would say is like a little mentorship that kind of
Oh,
develops
I love
along
that.
the role,
Yeah.
as this unfolds, because they basically get 2 months, 2 months or 6 weeks to prepare, for the production. And it's not a
Wow.
lot, but it's basically an hour's worth of their time,
That's
on
amazing.
on set. The whole process takes an hour or less. um, but they'll act out, somewhere between 3 to 5 scenes. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's cool. It's pretty cool. But it so as a result, to complement what you were saying, the actors have to quickly adapt and to understand, sometimes complex dialogues and
Mm-hmm.
roles that require them to truly, either be able to do it, or no, the next person's going to have to do that. I'm just not
Yeah, yeah.
able to do it. So very interesting.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So looking forward, are there any other genres, roles, or types of projects that you've been eager to explore? What do you how do you choose whether or not you're going to be in a film or not?
Well, basically, I it's somewhat complicated to answer, but I choose by what I really, when I feel a character has like a growth throughout the film, where she is challenged by something, or where she overcomes some kind of, or doesn't overcome but tries to overcome. So I want to see like that there is true character development that I can work with. And I don't necessarily have, for myself, I don't necessarily have a genre or a specific type of character I want to play. I just want to see that I know that I can give her justice. I know that I can add something to the character that wasn't perhaps written in to begin
Hmm.
with, that I
Hmm.
can give some more depth to a situation that might be, if she is very, if she seems very uh, superficial, let's say, I want to have them understand that she's like covering her insecurity with being superficial. And if
Mm.
she's a bitch, I want to like find that moment where she's like, her heart has been broken, so that even if we never find out, you can see that glimpse in her of truth. That like that moment of
Right.
where you see the real character come through. That's what I really, when I find that in the script, then I'm sold. And so, but looking forward, I really want to do more like real, like biographical characters
Right.
in the future, because I feel
Right.
I've done that in theater and I've done that in independent films, but I haven't really had that opportunity. Um, and I think, like, there are so many amazing women in this world, like Franca Susani, or Katja of Sweden, or so many people we have, or even in Sweden we have the king Gustav Vasa, his daughter Cecilia Vasa. She was like this party queen back in, it's the 1500s, and she's like a pirate taking over the world. And I'm like, God, I want to play her. It's so that's something that would be really, really
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that takes us to, because of all the new technologies that are upon us, and it's easier to make a fantastical film with all of these types of sets and
Mm.
designs. How do you think that this is going to? How do you think film is going to evolve? In
I think
storytelling,
if
because we have
we
all of these new tools.
Yeah, well, I mean, the strike, everyone's been aware of like the AI fear. And I feel like this is something that we can actually explore instead of, having uh, five different people play the same part throughout a lifetime. We no longer need to be so nervous about, finding that, or being too old for a part. Now we can be ourselves at a younger age. We can actually do more with that technology. And I believe that we can, if we make friends with the technique, I think we can achieve so much. And I think we can even make films in different parts of the world at the same time. You can be there and I can act opposite you. We can make
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
mirror the set, and we can just as you and I talk now, we don't have to be in the same in the same part of the ocean, and we can work
Yeah, that's
together.
right.
So
That's
I
right.
feel
That's right.
like I really think that the we have. I also think that this type of technology that we're using our cell phones to communicate
Mhm.
is, we just need a little bit better technology to be able to make amazing films with very, very little means, and then we can focus on what story we want to tell. And can you
Right.
imagine, like, just this is me like being crazy, but can you imagine if we can use the surveillance cameras, and we can buy that? Can I, instead of having like a crane come down and film, there's like intense film, and we're gonna shut down the entire street. What if we just buy the surveillance camera and we put that really good technique in there, and we combine it
Hmm.
with like then we have no limit to what we can make. So
Yeah,
I think
it sounds like you're getting ready to produce your next film. You're a producer now. Okay.
yeah. I
No,
think we shouldn't be
that's
so
awesome.
afraid of that too. I think we've come to a point in time where we can be everything. Like look at Margot Robbie. Like look at her amazing. Like what she did to Barbie this year. It's
Hmm.
so fascinating to see like what a vision can be if you just understand.
Yeah,
And you can
yeah.
be anything: a producer, a writer, a director, and an actor. So it's you can be anything.
And no, that's fascinating to I don't want to leave out I don't want to leave out the dreams, because I know people are going to ask us. So where can we see the film? Where can we see
Yeah,
Dreamster?
you can actually see it on YouTube. So I'm gonna send
Okay.
you the link, and you can write it in the
Okay.
comments field so everybody,
Okay.
because it's online now for everybody to
Okay.
watch, and I really love that when a film takes off and you can really see it. We had a, a Star Wars fan film a couple of years ago that you can actually make Star Wars fan films without going through any copyright issues or anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
But so they made this Star Wars fan film, and it had over 3 million views before it was taken down, which I think
Oh,
is so fascinating.
wow. They had
Yeah,
Why'd they take it down?
they took it down due to music copyrights. So it was something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well, they just need to fix that. That's all.
I know, but it's fascinating. I think if we find a way in film to understand, like you said, with sponsors, like if
Yeah.
we understand a way of having product placement, or when we understand that we can make film where uh, we have the brand, not we don't have product placement. I mean, nobody wants to be like, oh well, I'm acting opposite this one, but but if we understand the brand and we can sell a film to like, say, I don't want to mention, like now you mentioned uh, repeat your sponsor again for the
Oh,
festival.
Final Draft.
Yeah,
Final
Final
Draft.
Draft.
Yeah.
See, Final Draft is like we make a feature film now off of Final Draft, and they are actually paying our salaries. And then we want to broadcast the film everywhere on
Mhm.
every platform. I mean, now we don't have to be so afraid of how are you and I going to get paid.
Mhm.
We already have our money from the sponsor to begin with. And so I think this is like a wonderful opportunity in the
Yes.
future.
Yes. Yes. I'm a huge advocate for product placement,
Yeah,
um, because everybody has to have props,
yeah,
and it's just a matter of designing your set and your screenplay to take advantage of that. So
exactly.
it's just, using your mind and thinking a little bit
Yeah.
beyond the scope of just me.
Yeah, and
So
I mean, if
I
we
think
have
that's
the
very
right
possible.
audience to begin with, if we
Yeah.
if the people that work behind brands understand that more, that we actually give a very strict audience that
Yes.
all love that line, then
Yes.
they just have to understand the script, and then they don't have to go in and look at the artistic.
Right.
So it's it's
So
fascinating.
speaking about, staying on to science fiction. So then, of course, then that being the case, um, are you a Star Wars or a Star Trek fan?
Well, you're gonna hate me now, but I'm actually, the thing is, as I grew up, we didn't have those channels, and so I was always like, I never saw the films when they came, like when people, like all my peers, watched them. So
Hmm.
I've always been late to to the ball, which has been. So now I'm like, I have this opportunity to watch them at a later time, and
Hmm.
so I have never seen any Star Wars film. Like I haven't seen, which is like so embarrassing to say. But obviously I'm like, I have, and some of my best friends are like huge Star Wars fans,
Hmm.
to the
Hmm.
point where they have all the every little like merchandise, everything. and so they are very, very angry with me for not having more.
But you know what? Let me tell you something. Let me say something here. You know, in my experience as a filmmaker, film producer, you know, what I see, you know, the thousands of films that have come through MiSciFi, um, I can only tell you that some of the top films, the winners, a lot of these folks have not seen or been part of Star Wars or
Yeah.
Star Trek.
No,
They've not. They're
no.
clueless. There's some of them are totally clueless to
Yeah.
science fiction, and I think that produces a level of innocence
Mm-hmm.
and purity in their character when they are exposed to this for the first time,
Yeah.
because you're seeing someone that their senses are so heightened,
Mm-hmm.
and their interactions with the camera and the sets are so unique, which
Yes.
is what makes them such good performers in their roles. This is
Mm-hmm.
just what I've seen in you
I
know the thousands
agree.
of
I
films that I've
agree.
seen. Some of
Yeah,
them
and I
also
feel,
the top films. They
yeah.
they you start asking them these questions. They're like, well, no, I actually I haven't. I don't know. It's truly amazing. Wow.
It is, and it's
Wow.
so fascinating. I find that that is true at a lot of times, because when you start judging, like when you have a preconceived notion of something, you start like judging or having an idea, and you come in with. I just love when actors give themselves the opportunity to really experience something um, truthfully the first time, and not come with like preconceived notions so much. They just
Mhm.
appear and then they live through the moment. And I, as an actor, I am so secure. Like, I even have this wonderful story that I want to tell you. I was in a film which is a little bit like the surveillance camera idea, because it was I don't know if you know, like Hell's Angels in Sweden. It's like
Yeah.
this motorcycle company.
Yeah. Oh
uh,
my goodness.
yeah, it's like, you know, it's like Hell on Wheels. Like it's like they
Yeah.
are like this. So Hell's Angels is like, and they made a lot of money, and one of them wanted to make a film. So
Mhm.
he brought up all us actors, and he was like, "There's gonna be a killer, and he's gonna hunt you, and you're not gonna know where he is, and you're just gonna do this, and you're
Yeah.
gonna try to. This is your character." And so we had like a time to prepare our character, like who that was, and all we were gonna do was, you know, live our lives, and then at a certain point, the killer would come, and we would know he was there somewhere, and we would try to escape. And in the end, of course, he would kill you. and and so I was like, you know, I was in the laundry room, and I heard this noise, and I was like, he's here. And I escaped through the window, and I ran through the forest, and I got to like this whole like old warehouse, and I like ran into the warehouse, and the whole entire time I'm like, how are they gonna film this? Like, how do they capture this? And
Yeah.
I end up like running into a bathroom, and I'm locking the door, and I'm like, now I'm free, because they couldn't possibly know I'm here. So I'm
Mhm.
hiding in this bathroom, and suddenly I see the lock being like open, and I'm like, you know, I'm just screaming my lungs out because
Oh
I'm
my
so scared.
God.
And the killer
Oh.
comes in, and obviously he's like off. They just point me to the side, and he's just like killing me with a hammer. And
Oh.
they've filmed everything with their surveillance cameras. So I mean, the quality is really low, and but it's like a film for, you know, it doesn't matter because
Slasher film.
yeah, and it's so realistic, because
Oh man.
everybody, I was scared to death. So
Wow.
it was I mean, that's really funny how that
Wow.
can happen. And I really
That's
like that when you trust your instinct, you trust your ability to act so much so
yeah.
that
Yeah.
you're you're like playing. You're not like, this is not planned. You're not gonna look at that. You're just gonna be the character. And
Right. 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 Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's trippy. I gotta definitely check out some of those. If there's a link you could share, I would be appreciated.
Yeah.
Um, so sticking on the sci-fi comment. So are there any sci-fi films that or series that you enjoy or you
Oh
watch or
yeah, my
have watched?
God. Yeah, I love Black Mirror. I'm like, and
Okay.
this, I mean, with this was Dreamster was somewhat based on like a Black Mirror. He did
Yes,
the
yes.
comedy one, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sold. Like I'm
Yeah.
dying for that. It's amazing. And there's also this sci-fi where they're two twins. I think it is a Black Mirror episode, which is very similar to Dreamster as well, where
Yeah.
she's like she is her identical twin and she's
Hmm.
going back and forth whether or not she's the killer. Oh,
Hmm.
it's just so good. It's so I'm now cast for a sci-fi film which is shot in space, and it's this which is so very now time wise with Elon Musk trying to go to different planets and everything. This is the I
Really?
yeah, it's so similar.
It's
It's
coming out? When is this coming out? What is it?
oh
Can
my
you say
God,
the name?
it's gonna be greenlit, I hope, because it's like just on the bit. It's been for years and years. Like now we're shooting it, now we're not. But I'm dying to make this film because it's a virus that's come into. So some people have been affected by the virus, and they're bringing them from one planet to another, and they're trying to get access to. And it's just such a and it, nobody knows who is affecting, and it turns out, not to spoiler alert, but like my character is like the she comes in as the wonderful like heroine, and then in the end,
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
course, you start to understand that maybe she's
Wow. Wow.
ulterior.
I
It's very,
definitely want to see this one.
I know,
Please
I
keep me
want
in
to
the
make
loop. Yeah, that sounds
that.
awesome. If it gets greenlit and it's happening, we'll have to revisit this interview
Yeah,
again.
yeah, you have
We'll have to
to.
interview again and talk about the film when it's ready. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Hmm.
good. So as we wind up here, uh, what's left? What was your favorite film? Outside of the genre, what were your favorite films and
Oh
why?
my God, this year has been such an amazing film year. I don't even know, like, it's just been so good. I've seen almost all the Oscar nominees, and I find that it's such a broad. I love that so much has been, celebrating female filmmakers, and I
Hmm.
really feel that, when people from all backgrounds and from all genders and nationalities start making film, you also meet the audience that feels like they're included, like they're
Hmm.
represented. And
Hmm.
this year, I just feel like the films that have been made are so amazing, and it's just going from Anatomy of a Fall, which is just so I love that, like
Hmm.
intriguing, going through mind, like human psyche, and of course, like what Margot Robbie did with Barbie was just
Yeah.
I'm so inspired. And did you see last year's Everything Everywhere All at Once?
No, this is a film.
Oh my God, this
No.
is, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's so good.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like going through, because it's about parallel universes that you can jump from one
That
like
that is
uh,
a common theme we're seeing now. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I think
Okay.
that's so fascinating. It's just, I mean, they are making a film that is just so spaced out and that still delivers on such a human scale where you just can, I'm so impressed. It's really, really fascinating to see.
Yeah. That's neat. We'll see. We'll see. So, is any last thing you'd like to give us or tell us or share with us
Well,
before we?
yeah, what would that be? Let me just see if there was anything else. You had so many amazing questions. So I'm like, um, there's so many good questions. I think you're so brilliant at like preparing the questions. It was really, really I think you've like gone through like a lot of the questions.
Yeah, we covered just about
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah, no, I really wanna like conclude with what we spoke about off camera
Hmm.
before we started the interview, because I feel the it's such a beautiful moment to celebrate all kinds of artistic ability, to have a festival. And I really feel I want to thank you, because there's so much work that goes into building a festival, and to take in films, and to get the viewer to understand what is this film about. And I think especially your festival was really good at like pinpointing what different films were all about. And I feel that that's so crucial to find an audience for your film. And so it's such an honor, because it's so much work for every artist that is in filmmaking, like both in front of and behind the camera. It is so much work and so much gritty, like down to, no glamour at all. And
Right.
then there is a festival that really celebrates that magnificence of film. And I want to thank you
Yes.
for all your
Thank you.
hard work, and such an honor to be a part of your festival.
Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. It really, I can tell you the judges and staff, people are excited when we hear these things. Um, and, the goal is to give filmmakers that additional opportunity. Because in South Florida, there's not a lot of sci-fi. And, we have grown to be now this international, venue
Yeah.
where it's not uncommon now for us to get films from 30 different countries
It is
on
so
on
true.
average.
Yeah.
30 different countries,
It is.
and we're still getting films from countries like this is, and they're like, yeah, this is the first time a science fiction film has come out of this country. We yeah, we get this every year now. Every year we're one, at least a country is sending us a film that it's like, yeah, this is our first time making a science fiction out of this country.
Wow, it is
Yeah,
so amazing.
yeah, yeah. The world's changing. It's an interesting time. It's an
It
interesting time.
is.
It's very rewarding,
Mm-hmm.
hearing the different stories. I would say 20% on average filmmakers attend the festival. So if we have 100 film, actually it's more than 20%. I'm sorry. It's more like 50%. So,
Wow.
if we have, in some years we've had, as an example, 80 films play, there was close to 40 films being represented, meaning
Wow.
the filmmaker, not just the director, but the director, producer, and maybe an actor or two or cinematographer came
Yeah.
to the
Oh my
festival to,
gosh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like this every year, every year.
I wanted to go so
Yeah,
bad. I was like so bummed out that I couldn't
yeah,
go. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
That's really amazing.
Yep.
Oh, it's been so much fun talking to you.
Likewise, Johanna. Likewise. Thank you so much. And we at MiSciFi wish you and your crew the very best. And we look forward to seeing more science fiction from you.
Oh,
Please.
thank you so much.
And that's it, folks. Thank you so much here at MiSciFi. And we look forward to the next broadcast. Till then.